Hey guys, Zero here. Before the video, I just wanted to let you know that Hoodie and I are celebrating this channel breaking 100 subscribers by having a giveaway. Stay at the end of the video for details. It's been a long and arduous journey, but we're almost a real YouTube channel now. We have a triple-digit sub count, we have monetized videos, there's just one more thing on the list. A Hunter x Hunter video. Cause, come on, are you really an anime analysis channel if you don't talk about Hunter x Hunter at some point? Just to be sure, that's what we're doing today. For the uninitiated amongst our viewers, Hunter x Hunter is a series that's achieved an impressive cult following, due to being surprisingly mature and dark in its themes and presentation. The Chimera Ant arc in particular featured a number of gruesome and heart-wrenching scenes, some of which are considered the most memorable moments in the entire series yet. Part of the reason that this arc carries so much emotional weight is the unique circumstance that the heroes find themselves in. Realistically, this conflict will determine the fate of all humanity, because Chimera Ants pose a threat of passing humanity in the food chain, which could potentially spell the end of the human race. Hunter x Hunter isn't the first story to present humanity potentially becoming obsolete in the face of a newly evolved species, though. X-Men is. But another that comes to mind is the series that recently reached its conclusion, The Planet of the Apes. As a big fan of both the new Planet of the Apes trilogy and Hunter x Hunter, I'd argue that the latter tackles this kind of story even better than the prior. Before we get into exactly why, it seems courteous to place a spoiler warning for both the new Planet of the Apes movies and the Hunter x Hunter series. Caesar, the first evolved ape in the Planet of the Apes canon, experiences a similar life to that of Meruem, the king of the Chimera Ants. To start, Caesar and Meruem's mothers were both more evolved than others in their species at the time. In Caesar's case, it's because his mother, Bright Eyes, was being experimented on using drugs that enhanced her intelligence. In Meruem's case, it's because his mother had been born from a Chimera Ant that had presumably consumed humans. Caesar's and Meruem's mothers both pass away shortly after they're born. Clearly they've been on parallel journeys from the start. However, there have also been some notable differences. Caesar set off the chain reaction of events that led to the evolution of apes beyond just himself, while Meruem's brothers and sisters had already been massively evolved before he was born. In both cases, though, Meruem and Caesar respectively were still the most evolved of them all. This designates them as the de facto leaders of their respective species. However, both of them begin with very separate goals. When Meruem is first born, he's cruel and self-centered. Taking the lives of humans, or even other Chimera Ants as seen when he tries to execute one of his own guards, gives him absolutely zero pause. Meruem treats humanity like cattle from the moment he's born. The first priority he sets for himself is securing a worthwhile meal. The heroes who catch wind of his actions immediately regard him as a threat to humanity. On the opposite side of the spectrum we have Caesar, who always adored his human caretaker. Caesar simply goes through the early stages of his life more or less as any pet ape would. The first thing he sets out to do that has real consequences is protect his family. In doing so, he is also regarded as a threat, albeit much less deservingly. Meruem's early life was certainly more interesting. We already know from the power levels of the Royal Guard that Chimera Ants are capable of beating even the strongest hunters around, and Meruem is clearly even stronger than they are. Him being evil from the start raises the question of how the heroes could possibly triumph over such an impossibly powerful foe. Caesar, on the other hand, is only treated as a dangerous house pet at first because he attacks a human. At the start of the trilogy, he's clearly intelligent, but if it weren't for the fact that the franchise is about apes taking over the planet, there'd be no indication that he poses a real threat to the established human civilization. Caesar only ever acts to defend himself and right wrongs being done against the apes around him. Meruem, on the other hand, goes out of his way to kill humans. I think Hunter x Hunter establishes the stakes much better here. From the moment Meruem is born, we know that this guy could and would wipe out all humanity on a whim. We have no reason to worry about Caesar turning on humanity in the same way. Both Caesar and Meruem grow more and more human-like as they age. Caesar develops speech and personal relationships with others of his kind, while Meruem's relationship with Komugi led him to feel compassion for humanity. Meruem and Caesar are both betrayed by their own followers. Caesar is betrayed by another ape named Koba, who starts a war between the apes and the remaining humans. Meruem is betrayed by his own guards, who lie to him and conspire to kill Komugi, who is under his protection. For Caesar, this betrayal makes him realize that apes are not inherently more humane than humans. He learns that the newly evolved apes are capable of the same atrocities of which humans are capable. While Caesar is introduced to the weakness of his race by another ape, Meruem, on the other hand, is introduced to the strength of humanity through Komugi, who he is unable to best in Gungi despite his natural genius and talent. He recognizes the existence of strength beyond just physical might, which Komugi lacks entirely. Of course, this leads him to going on a power trip and ranting about how physical strength supersedes all other forms of strength, but that's kinda besides the point. The interesting thing from the audience's perspective about Caesar's growth over time is that apes are animals that exist in the real world. So the idea that apes could grow super intelligent and break out of their caves harboring rage for the humans who made them captives will certainly spice up your next trip to the local zoo. Similarly, Meruem also offers a subtle change from a familiar norm. As shonen anime watchers, the audience of Hunter x Hunter is likely to expect the main character, or one of the main characters, to challenge Meruem and defeat him to save humanity from the threat that he and the rest of the Chimera Ants pose. But that isn't really what happens. Sure, Meruem does fight the strongest Nen user we've seen so far, but he emerges victorious, and he doesn't move on to threaten anyone else because he doesn't care about dominating the world or destroying humanity or anything like that. He just wants to play a board game with his lolly GF. Caesar and Meruem both pose a threat to humanity, though, because they both represent the rise of a new step in evolution that would likely replace humanity as the dominant life form on Earth. And in both cases, humanity plays a big part in their evolution. However, the threat they pose is very different. In the Planet of the Apes, the cause of the evolution of the titular apes coincidentally also causes the death of the majority of the human race. Even what humans remain are still at risk from the mere existence of the ape, as exposure to them causes the simian flu that they still carry to mutate inside them, robbing them of their intelligence in the process. The Chimera Ants, on the other hand, feast on human flesh. While they could focus on eating other organisms, they are predators to humanity. Despite these differences, humans regard both evolved apes and Chimera Ants in much the same way. They try to destroy both groups. Despite this, both Meruem and Caesar, towards the end of their arcs, are attempting to coexist with humanity. In the newest addition to the trilogy, Caesar's colony of evolved apes have been thrust into a war with the remaining human military by Koga. Caesar's forces parry an ambush from human soldiers, taking a few men captive and sending them back to the base alive as a gesture of peace. During Caesar's dialogue with the leader of the remaining military forces, it's revealed that the simian flu that plagued mankind before is now mutating, threatening the humanity of everyone it affects. Despite Caesar's peaceful intentions, humanity cannot continue to exist for as long as the apes do, and so the remainder of humanity endeavors to take them all out. Similarly, during Netero's confrontation with Meruem, every time Meruem tries to sit down and talk, Netero attacks him. Netero knows that Chimera Ants, especially Meruem, are already as strong and intelligent as humans, if not more so, and that they have the potential to evolve even further than they already have in no time at all. Since they already prey on humans for food, the long-term threat that they pose to humanity cannot be ignored. Unlike Caesar though, this could be blamed on Meruem. After all, if he hadn't gone on a killing spree and performed a hostile takeover of totally not North Korea within an hour of being born, perhaps the Hunter Association wouldn't have been so eager to take Meruem out. Netero knows that no peaceful solution can be found, because despite Meruem's peaceful intentions, the very existence of Chimera Ants threatens mankind. It's the law of evolution. But there is a difference in circumstance between Caesar and Meruem. As the protagonist, Caesar was allowed to be considered good, while Meruem was expected to be evil so that the protagonist of Hunter x Hunter could have a reasonable conflict with him. However, his initial evil nature makes his character arc into a more mature and noble version of himself much more respectable and fun to watch in the end. This is what's so interesting about this kind of story to me. We cheer for Caesar to succeed because we know that he's a virtuous character who just wants to help his people be free. And we like Meruem because we enjoy seeing his relationship with Komugi develop. But cheering for these characters is indirectly cheering for the end of humanity. It's conflicting, but we've grown to care for these characters. That's why Hunter x Hunter has amassed such a cult following and has such rave reviews. Well, that's it for this video, but as promised, I'm going to fill you in on the details for that giveaway that I alluded to earlier. Hoodie and I are giving away an art collection book of the Studio Ghibli film Spirited Away. We figure this is a pretty good gift for anyone who's a big fan of anime, which presumably most of you are. To enter the giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, like this video, and comment down below. We'll announce the winner of the giveaway in next week's video.